Good evening. My name is Jackson Gardner. Today I'm going to be speaking a little bit on the question, should mature, capable adults have the right to carry a concealed weapon with them? Very controversial topic. The reason that it interests me is because a lot of people on the opposition, or the side that says that they shouldn't be allowed to, wonder why so many Americans feel the need to carry a concealed weapon with them whenever they're at the grocery store, when they're at the mall, in their homes, while they're driving. So my interest in the topic is to be able to bridge the gap between those that feel there is a need and those that feel there isn't. In my experience in this field, I've noticed a lot of times there aren't many people that are on the fence. Many people are either for it or they're against it. And so I've come to realize that it's a delicate topic that needs to be spoken about because they're so radical and extreme on each side, those that believe one way or the other. There's got to be some way to be able to bridge the gap, and I feel what I've done today is going to be able to capture that. Every place in the United States, or in fact in the world, is extremely unique on the way they view this topic. You'll take places in Russia where there are countless people that carry guns everywhere. Then you'll take other places in the world that they have strict gun laws. And people use those as examples as to why we don't need guns in America. Then we can make it a little bit more at home, the argument, and we can talk about individual states. You could be in California, or you could be in New York, Chicago, or basically anywhere else on the East Coast, and they'll tell you that you're not allowed to carry a gun anywhere. The gun laws are extremely restrictive. They typically only allow for police officers or government officials to be able to carry firearms. And if you're an average civilian, legally, it's very difficult to be able to carry a firearm. Or there's places like Texas, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico, where, God bless America, there's plenty of opportunity to be able to carry a firearm. It's legal. There is a system that you have to go through, take a class, do all the paperwork, and make sure it's government officialed and it's legit. But it's a lot easier, and a lot of civilians do daily carry a firearm with them everywhere they go. Here's my question. Should adults have the right to carry a firearm? I believe that it's a little bit more specific than that. I personally don't think every adult should be able to carry a firearm. There are people with mental illnesses. There are people that are suicidal. There are people that have a past background of violent behavior, past federal offenders, or people with felonies. I exclude those people from my argument because I'm a firm believer that it's an opportunity, that's a privilege, and there are things you can do to lose that privilege. We're talking about those that are just, those that are headstrong and have the desire to protect not only themselves but their family or third-party individuals that they're surrounded by. I believe firmly that everyone that wishes to should have the opportunity to carry a concealed weapon. Here's a little video. It says, two guys drinking at a bar. Guy says, this wouldn't have happened if we didn't ban guns. After the news reporting says that there was a school shooting. Guy says, yeah, ban worked really well during the Prohibition. What I know so far and what I've researched and in my experience in the gun industry and in the field of teaching firearm classes and things like that is this. That it is a right given to us in our Second Amendment. That it says we have the right to bear arms. It was put there just in case the government or anybody else tried to infringe upon that. It specifically says, the last sentence, this right shall not be infringed upon. Okay? Then there's the argument is, as the government is changing, which is good, a lot of change, but they decide to make specific restrictions on firearms and things like that. At what point are they impacting on our amendment, on our rights that we have as United States citizens? Obviously, there's statistics that can come from both sides. The ones that I find the most interesting are the ones that say, okay, there were about 15,000 murders last year in 2019 in the United States, 73% of those were done with a firearm. Then you look at states where it's easily accessible to carry a firearm, and the majority of people carry in several of these states, and it shows that the statistic has dropped nearly in half of murders where a firearm is used. Then it begs the question, why would that be? What factors go into play there? And how does that work? Crime rates lower with concealed carry. Simple psychology. If you're a bad guy and you're in a state where you know that virtually nobody has the right to carry a firearm, but you have one because you're a bad guy and you don't abide by the laws, you're going to walk willy-nilly anywhere you go and feel like nobody's going to shoot back. Versus if you're in Texas, just happened a few months ago, in a church, and you decide you want to go shoot up a church. As unfortunate that is, and I really want to respect and honor those who passed away in that. Luckily, there was a guy carrying a firearm who was there at the place, who was able to fire back and end the situation. Gun laws restrict good guys. What does that mean? Gun laws restrict those that are going to follow or obey the law. When we think about laws, they're put in place for citizens that obey that law. Now, when you go and you put a law in place that's going to restrict good guys, that means it's not going to have any effect on the bad guys. Now, in our nation, we're trying to save or look out for the good of the people. The bad guys are always going to break the law. So regardless of how many laws are in place to prevent the good guys from carrying a weapon, the ones that are destined to do bad or commit crime are going to do it regardless of if there's a law in place or not. Regardless if there's an article or if it says that they can't get a concealed carry, there is 1,000,001 different ways illegally to obtain a firearm. When you put a law in place to restrict the good guys or the law-abiding citizens who are going to follow that law that says you cannot, or make it difficult for them to carry a concealed weapon, what that does is it leaves them helpless and alone without protection. Bad guys are going to get the guns or the bad things regardless, whether it's drugs, alcohol in the prohibition, whether it's firearms. They'll get it either way. The good guys are left without anything because they're going to follow the law as a law-abiding citizen. Every responsible adult should have the right to decide whether he or she wants to carry a firearm and protect him, his family, or any other third party. I'm not saying that every adult has to carry, but I strongly believe, firmly based on everything that I've looked into, that adults should have the opportunity to do it if they wish to do so. In states like California and New York, that is not the case right now. God bless the Utah, Texas, Arizona. They have given us the right and the opportunity to take a class, learn, be educated, and then move forward if we want to protect ourselves and those around us. But there are still states in the United States where that is not an option. And I don't think that's correct, especially because you're limiting the possibilities and you're limiting the options that people have. This is my father. You can tell two very different images. The one on the left, my dad is a shooting instructor, NRA instructor. He teaches a tactical handgun defense course, tactical rifle defense course. He teaches a concealed carry class. He's very hands-on, very educated, and has taught us from a young age how to safely handle weapons. So they're not a foreign object. They're something we're comfortable with. It's something that we're educated on, and then we can share that education with others. On the right is a picture after home was broken into, and he was battered and beat up by the criminal who broke in. Now, I share this with you because this is one of many experiences where this has happened, that someone carelessly breaks into a home and can do as much damage as is seen here. My dad is very capable. Bless his heart, he didn't want to use violent force with the intruder, and so he did not opt to use the firearm that he had in the home because he didn't think that although this person was committing a crime, it was worth taking their life. That being said, there are so many situations where it's completely different and where the intruder or the criminal has the potential or has the idea of harming even more severely than a broken nose the person who owns the home or the person who has the possession that they're going after. And in that case, it is extremely, extremely important that that person previously had the right to protect themselves and in the scenario had the option to go for the weapon in self-defense. This quote slightly cut off. It says, "I would rather go to my grave never having used it than go there wishing I'd had it." This one hit me really deep. What it means and what it's trying to convey is that although we want the opportunity or the possibility to carry, does not in a million years signify that those that believe that way want to use their firearm. They would just much rather opt on the safe side of having it for personal protection, to be a protector and a provider for their family or those around them, than go to their grave wishing that they had had that opportunity. Senator in California, her name is Dianne Feinstein. She's been the senator in California for a long, long time. This is a direct quote from her, and it reads, "When the gunman realizes," close quote, emphasizing that there's a gunman who's committing a crime. She says, and I quote, "When the gunman realizes that nobody else is armed, he will lay down his weapons and turn himself in. And that's just human nature." Close quote. That's the justification that Dianne Feinstein has as a senator of California for limiting and not letting average citizens in her state carry a concealed weapon with them, because she is under the impression that bad guys will realize that all the good guys that they're robbing or that they're stealing from or that they're committing any other sort of crime, once they realize that the people don't have a gun, they'll lay down their gun and they'll turn themselves in. I, along with I think 99% of the population, realize how unrealistic, for lack of a better word, that may be. So what? Who cares? Thousands of people, like I mentioned, die every single year due to the fact that they don't have the opportunity to protect themselves. Maybe if they had, or from a younger age, or even from right now on, they receive proper education on how to carry a firearm, how it works, and the safety and knowledge behind it and the protection that that can offer, I think that this would change America in a drastic, drastic way. God bless Donald Trump. I don't agree with everything he's done, but he has done an excellent job of allowing gun owners to carry and protect themselves. That's one thing that I do think he has done well. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, like I said, most people fall on one side or the other of the spectrum. My plea and what I really would like to get across is the fact that everybody deserves the option. Just because you don't want it or you don't believe it's right does not give the right to you or any other lawmaker to prohibit somebody else from carrying a gun, protecting their family, their children, their newborn, those around them, or any other third party, wherever they may be, from substantial and consequential harm. Thank you.